Hello, and welcome to episode 25 of the Digital Quill podcast. I have with me someone very awesome and very incredible, someone that I actually admire quite a bit as far as like what they're trying to do project-wise, because it mirrors a lot of what I'm trying to do. Today's episode is about this person. I would like them to introduce themselves, so go ahead.
What's up? I am the Storyteller. I'm a genre-switching, genre-fusing alternative artist. And I make music that basically it tells my story in a way where hopefully it tells everyone's story, trying to focus in on what makes a human and just share really the story of human tragedy and hope in the midst of human tragedy. So that's what I'm about. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course. I have to say that I am really excited to have you here. I can remember when I discovered you on TikTok, actually. I might have written about this in my article about you, but I found you because of that Post Malone cover you did, Better Now.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And the sound that you have is just so unique, so I had to like find the other stuff you did, and that's when I found that you were trying to build community and stuff, and that's been something that's been on my radar for wanting to do for a while, and that's why I admire the heck out of you, man. Like seriously, like keep building community, keep trying to connect people through music because that's beautiful.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, I think for me, like music is this place where it was kind of how made sure I didn't feel alone, growing up, especially in like middle school and high school. I had people, but I didn't have people I was willing to talk about the heavy things with, the serious things with. I wasn't willing to be open that way with. So I had people I could be fun with, but then second I get home and I'd close the door to my bedroom, it was like all this stuff was still just sitting there that I wasn't dealing with. And so music for a long time in place of a authentic, vulnerable community was that space where I could go and in a way be authentic and vulnerable with myself first. And so for me, it goes so hand in hand, right? Like trying to build a community where I have this music that I hope will do that same thing music did for me. It'll voice what I didn't know how to voice. It'll make me feel like I'm not the only one. It'll give me something to scream and shout and cry and yell in the car. But also, if you're looking for that genuine community where like a real living person out there just like you can hear and listen and then encourage and go through stuff with you, then, that would be the next step after that. And so I love being able to offer that. I'm excited to see what happens with it. I don't really know fully what I'm doing. I know what I think I'm doing. I know what I want to do. I don't know how it's going to pan out yet, but I've loved what I've seen so far. It's been special.
I know we're not like super close personal internet best friends or anything like that, but from my position on where I've been watching like the Storyteller and the Discord and everything unfold, like your project and your drive with this, like everything I've seen so far, I've been impressed with, I've been amazed with, I've been happy to see, because I really feel like community and people in villages, like we all need each other. We all go through very similar, if not the same shit. Like it's a crazy world out here, and the fundamental thing, even if it is hard sometimes, is we need people. People need us.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. And there's our gut reaction when we are going through something is to keep it in, right? It's like if I show this, it's going to show weakness, or if I talk about this, it's going to be too much for people. I don't want to put weight on them. I don't like, we justify all these reasons to do it alone. And it's just not what the human experience has ever been meant to be. If you go back to like ancient humanity, we were in tribes, we were in packs, we were doing things together. Everyone had their own role, and it was very communal. And if you weren't in a pack, you weren't going to survive. And I think now our survival, for a lot of us anyway, isn't a physical need. We're comfortable. We have a home, we have food, we have all those things. We don't have to go out and hunt for it quite the same way anymore. But emotionally speaking, suddenly when survival isn't that just having your basic needs met, there comes all this emotional stuff, and that's what is relatively new for humanity. We've gotten so comfortable now that all this emotional stuff is coming out, and it works the same way. You've got to lean on people. You've got to have people in your life who fill certain roles, just like we did before. And yeah, it's so unbelievably important. And I'm hoping to put a little dent in loneliness through what I'm doing. So I hope I'm doing it. I really do.
I will say this. I feel personally for me that you have put a dent in loneliness, because I found your project at the right time. I found you at the right time. I was literally just about to start doing my podcast. I had all these plans to start my first book, and like, I'm actually doing the things I never thought I'd do, and seeing you do things, seeing you create the community, doing things that are like mirrors of what I want to do. I was like, oh, if he can do it, if this person can do it and get results, then I now have the confidence just a little bit more to do it too. Because like, if we both have our communities growing, if we both have people that we're like both like have the intent of like helping people, then that kind of gives me the I don't know how to say this correctly, but like that gives me the like the light bulb, the okay, like, oh, you are doing something good, Mars, keep doing it, because this person is also doing the same thing. Does that make sense?
Totally does. And it means a lot you said that too. I appreciate you sharing that, and it's a story I've heard a couple times before, and it's exactly what I'm hoping for, right? Is like, most people are going to see my content, they're going to look at it, they're going to think it's corny or cringy or whatever, and they're going to swipe past until the moment comes where they need what I'm offering. And everyone who's ever found me and then taken that leap to join the community, whatever, they've said that same thing, that my content found them when they really needed it, for whatever that means for them, right? It's not going to be the same thing every time, but whatever it means for them is that there was a moment where they were looking for something, and what I was doing found them when they needed it the most. And so that's like the dream for me to hear. That's like exactly what I want to hear, because that's exactly what I'm hoping to do. And it's one of those things that, my music, it's not something everyone's going to understand. And the whole community thing is definitely not something everyone's going to understand. It sounds weird if you're someone who already has those things in place, or if you're in denial about really needing those things. And it's the same with emotional music and sad music like I make. There's people who don't get it. They think that like, wow, you're like really pathetic for these lyrics. Like, why do you feel that way? Why would you say you feel that way? Why would you tell people you feel that way? There's people who just don't, or they're just like, just write something happy for once. Like, they're like, I don't want to listen to you be sad. That's not fun for me. Like, write something happy. But you know what? The second that you're in a really bad place, what you're gonna want is a song that voices being in a really bad place. And so it's what we do in trying to create community, in trying to, which the goal of community, right, is to make someone who is currently alone not need to be alone. The reason we do that is because we know there's people like you, like me, who on that day where they need it most are going to find what we offer, and it's going to be just what they need.
And I want to formally apologize if I like praise you or like gush over what you're doing too much, but I can't help it. It's what you're doing to me. Like what you're doing, like to me, is like I wish I could be your internet bestie. Like I wish I could, but like that's like a thing that like you can't force that to happen. But like I wish I could be, because like you're like I want to like push your like not your project, but like I use project as a fluff word. I want to push what you're doing even more and like be a part of it, because like I'm trying to do the same thing, and I think what we're doing here and what we're trying to help people with, because I know that loneliness, and I know you do too. It's like beautiful, and it's giving me so much hope and faith, and just I'm sorry if it makes you uncomfortable.
You're good. You're good. I don't receive compliments the best, but I've learned not to reject them, so I will take them.
I'm still learning how not to reject them, so I might need to take some notes from you. What do you got?
Just shut up and smile is what I do.
That's a good one.
That's my trick for it. Yeah. Yeah, I've never been very good at hearing those, but yep. It's one of those things not to go into therapy talk, but why not, right? This is open-ended. We can talk about whatever we want.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I've learned in my journey through therapy is that like our brains create pathways. Like if you tell yourself, like say you're someone who struggles with, you wake up every day, you look in the mirror, you say, man, you're ugly in the mirror. And then the next day you look in the mirror, you say the same thing, even just mentally, not out loud, but in your head, man, I'm ugly. You look in the mirror, you say it again. Every time that your brain goes to that place, it carves this little canyon in your mind that makes it easier to go to that place again. And then the next time it gets even easier. And then the next time it gets even easier. And so what I've learned is that the way that we fight some of these negative thoughts in our head is we create alternate pathways. We have negative pathways, we start to create the positive ones, and the way we do that is the same way we create the negative ones. We think the thought. And so for me, when I with compliments, one of the things I've reminded myself is I'm on this journey to better myself, right? I know I have a mind that thinks in a way that isn't always healthy. And so one of the pathways to bettering yourself is being open to positivity and being open to creating these alternate positive pathways. And you have to accept compliments to do that. And so it's one of those things where it's kind of like, for me, I've never been one of those guys who like the gym is like, oh, I can't wait to go to the gym today, but I go because I know I have to. It's one of those things for me. A lot of these things I do for my mental health, it's like, okay, I know I don't want this. This doesn't feel natural for me. It's not fun for me. It's not exciting for me. But also I've committed myself to being better for the people who care about me. So I'm going to learn to take the compliment. I'm going to learn to carve the more positive pathway and see the growth. And it's a bit of a fight, but it's worth it. That's for sure.
Speaking on the note of people who care about you, I don't know how much I can talk about projects and music and stuff that hasn't been released yet, but there is a song.
As much as you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there is a song of yours. There's a song of yours that I've seen on your TikTok lives. I think you know the one I'm talking about. I've requested it 1 billion times.
Are we talking about Blueberries and Wine?
Yes, we are.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. We are. I have to ask this question, and I am so sorry, but I rewatched your music video the other day. Is your lovely wife in that music video?
In my music video? Is my wife in my music video? She is not.
Will we see her in future music videos?
That is to be determined. She is. So it's one of the things that I love talking about my wife, by the way. One of the things I always looked for in whoever I was going to marry was that I feel like the best relationships have push and pull. And what I mean by that is I'm someone who I feel more comfortable with a microphone in my hand or being on stage. Like, to me, that's where I have the most control. And for her, she absolutely does not want that in any shape or form. Like, I wouldn't go as far as to say I'm an extrovert, because I'm definitely not. But I do well in big environments that for many other people, like my wife, would be extremely overstimulating and not comfortable. And then she does best in really quiet environments, which is where my brain needs the noise, right? And so for her, I've talked to her about, there's been a couple projects since we've been together where I've been like, hey, would you want to be in this? Would you want to do this? Would you want to be on camera? And so far, that has not been something she's even remotely interested in. So I would love to have her in a video. It's something it's definitely come up before. Like, we've talked about it and tried to do it before, and it just hasn't been something that she's wanted to do. So, which I totally get it. It was really weird for me getting used to being on camera at first. And so when she's interested or ready to do that, or feels like that would be fun, then we'll do it.
I know it's not my place to make suggestions and stuff like that, but I as a creative person who's always thinking a million miles ahead of myself, I can't help it. So full disclosure, again, I'm sorry, but
okay.
I think Blueberries and Wine would be like the video that you would want to create with her. And like, I feel like I can see it in my head. You could do like an acoustic version of it and like be playing the guitar, and you guys could be like in the same clothes or something similar to like your engagement and wedding photos. and like it's
Mhm.
just the two of you together, and you're singing that song to her.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, that's definitely a personal song for anyone listening who hasn't heard that song. I wrote this song about a conversation that I had with my wife where she showed me an article that said that I think it was specifically men. It was men who eat blueberries are like statistically will live 15% longer. Like who are frequently eating blueberries will live 15% longer. And like she showed me this article and I was like, okay, cool. And thought nothing of it. And then the next day there's blueberries in my fridge. And I was like, this is so ridiculous, right? Like you read one article about blueberries and now she's getting me blueberries. But it caused this something clicked in that moment that like there was a time where I really just like my future, my life, my next day was something that I really didn't care about. I wasn't, I there was a time where I didn't really have much interest in a future. And now I have someone who cares about me so much that she's doing everything she can to protect and lengthen my future as much as possible. And so I wrote this song about like there's a time where I was miserable and I didn't really care for this whole life thing anymore. And now I'm in a place where this person cares about me so much that she's literally doing everything she can to keep me alive. And it's just this weird, like, what more could a person ask for? Like, how am I someone who lets myself go to that place sometimes when I have someone like that in my life? And so it's one of my, it is a song that I really love that I've written. I'll be honest, I still have no idea what to do with it as far as taking it into the studio. Like it really works just me at a piano, and maybe that's just how it needs to be recorded. But every time I've kind of considered how to produce it out or what project it would go on or anything like that, it's been kind of this elusive song for me. But I know that it means a lot to me, so it'll end up somewhere. It's just some songs like that get really tricky when they're that open and honest and personal, and they feel that right at just a single instrument. A lot of like musicians would say that's when you have a song to take to the studio. For me, actually, that's when it's like I don't know how to take this to the studio. I kind of have the opposite problem. So it'll be interesting. No idea where that song is going to go, but it'll go somewhere.
I think I like your idea of doing it how you just do it on the TikTok lives and stuff. It's you in front of or not a computer, you in front of a keyboard, like a piano.
Yeah.
Pardon me for saying, but I love hearing that story about your wife. Like that's one of the reasons why I go on to that, like you're live and try to request this song. Like I'm hoping to hear that very story because that is such a beautiful and just beautiful story. I'm melting over here. But pardon me for saying this, but I feel like on some level we might be overthinking just a little bit on what to do with this because I think the song has written itself. It has the emotion and the love and the beauty and the sadness and the pull, everything that like the energy in that music, that song specifically is just, it's going to keep me coming back to it for sure. And I want to see this that one specifically completed because at some point in like the next, I don't know, millennia, but it's, I think for different reasons as like an outsider watching the story, like we might have some level of like the same level of admiration for your song Blueberries and Wine. Mm-hmm. But different reasons because like you're the artist, you're the creator of it, and I'm just the admirer of the story.
Sure.
I don't know how that makes sense, but
no, it totally does, and it will happen. And I think it will happen relatively soon. One of the things with songs like that, and the problem is I have 2 or 3 songs that I feel a similar way right now, which means they'll probably end up together. Ooh. But songs like that are kind of like a black hole, and when you place them on a record, everything else is going to circulate and get sucked into them. thematically speaking. Like for me, when I was working on my next record, the record that drops in the fall, I had two songs that I knew I wanted on the record, and they terrified me because of that. And it was one of the songs you've heard me play on live. It's called Life After Death. Similar message, similar theme in that song. And then the other one is a song no one's heard yet called Beauty in the End. And those two songs, I knew if these two songs are on this album, they're going to, like, the rest of this record needs to circulate them. Because what they're saying is so strong, and the execution, I feel, is so strong that they can't be like these songs that just kind of slide into place, and you hear them and then you pass through them and that's it. They have to be the songs that like are the foundational bricks of the record. They say too much. They say it in too right of a way. And so they need to be like the turning point and the climax of this album if I put them on there. And so in the same way, like I have these, Blueberries and Wine is one of those songs that it's you're right, it's a strong story. It's a strong execution of it. It's a really honest song. And when I say that, by the way, just side note before I continue, sometimes when I talk like that, it sounds like I'm buttering myself up. Like I'm like, yeah, I wrote this song. The way I songwrite, I feel like I put 0% of my skill and talent into something. I've always said that it feels like the music takes the song out of me. Like I just kind of follow. I don't really lead. And so I'm not really fluffing myself up. It's just that the right song found me. I didn't find the right song. But anyway, I'll continue now. I always like to preface that. I don't want to sound like I'm like buttering myself up or anything, because I don't view it that way.
I don't think you're buttering yourself up. I get it. I got
okay,
you.
Cool. Word. But these songs that I have Blueberries and Wine. I have a song that's called Be Like Him. I think I've posted a clip of that one. And then I have a song called For You. And those three songs, they all carry similar weight. I've posted about them. The other one's not as much as Blueberry and Wine, but I've posted about them on my TikTok. And they have this really similar theme. It's a really strong theme. And if I put them on any album, they're going to become the focal point of the album. Like it's just like there's this gravitational pull to them that like I need to find the right project where I'm okay with every other song I write circulating those songs. And I just haven't found it yet. So once I find it, and once I'm ready to execute a record that way, then it'll definitely happen. It's just getting to that place. And the hard part of that is one of the other ways that I write is I never force a concept. I never sit down. Like I have a lot of people who I work with and collaborate with. They're like, how do you never get writer's block? And I'm like, well, I never force myself to sit and write. I just don't do it. If I'm like, I'm willing to wait, which a lot of creatives aren't, or they don't have the luxury of doing that, but I'm willing to wait for it. So I won't sit and write if I don't have something that I know I want to say. So I don't know when it'll be. I don't know when the right idea will find me, but when it does, I'll get to work for you.
Well, I appreciate that. And I just, I want to side note my own self on this. I kind of resonate with what you're saying when it comes to how music writing finds you and all of that. I can't repeat that verbatim, but when I first started writing and I first started noticing like I could write hundreds of poems in a day and like 20 short stories that could possibly be turned into novellas or novels, I was like, oh, wow, what's going on here? And so many people would be like, wow, Mars, you write so much, like just growing up and even now. And it's like, I'm sorry. It's kind of just like the words come from the middle of nowhere, down my arm, through the pen and onto the paper. Like I'm sorry. I don't know what's happening. That's all I got.
Yeah.
It's like a sickness almost. I have to bleed the words out onto the page or they'll bleed me.
Yep. That's the truth right there.
Now, here's an interesting question for you. And I wanted to ask this earlier, but I feel like now's a good time. Who do you think you would be if music was not a part of your story?
Yeah, I've asked myself that question a lot, especially like I'm at a point now where in the eyes of people who know me, I've been doing music for, we're heading towards 10 years. We're not at 10 years. I think it's like 8 years now. It was 8 years ago I released my first record with my band. And I'm at a point where there's people in my life who look at it and they wonder why I'm still trying, is the way they view it, right? Like, why is he still trying to make something happen with this thing? Like, he was a kid when he came up with this dream. Why is he still doing it? It's a waste of money. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of resources. He's kidding himself. He's blah, blah, blah. And so, of course, there's been times I've considered that question as if I stop here, who's the person that I am if I'm not doing this? Who's the person I am without music? And then that leads me back to the question you're actually asking, which is, who would I have been if I never had it? And I would say the thing that most keeps me coming back to music is the fact that I have no idea. And that's not the satisfying answer anyone wants, right? Like, people want to hear like, oh, I think I could have been a comedian, or I could do this, or I could, like, they want to hear the interesting, what's the other option thing. And for me, I think that my two options in life are failed musician or successful musician. I don't think there's anything else for me. And by the way, I think what some would view as failed musician and what some would view as successful musician are two very different things.
Yeah.
Than what I view as failed musician and successful musician, which I, contrary to what a lot of people in my life would say, I view myself as a successful musician because my words are impacting what my bar is, which is minimum one person. And so, okay, I see that I'm impacting minimum one person. I'm a successful musician. And so I'm going to keep going. But yeah, I think that I need music. I don't think it's that I enjoy it. I don't always enjoy it, to be honest. I don't think it's that it's fun for me or it's a hobby. It's definitely not a hobby. If it's a hobby, I would like it a lot more than I do. It's something that I, at whatever age I found it, it became a survival technique for me. It became those thoughts that are too heavy when they're in my head and they stay there. I'm going to get them out of my head and I'm going to put them on paper. And now it's rinse and repeat. It's okay, I have heavy thoughts, I need to write. Okay, I have heavy thoughts, I need to write. Mine's lighter, won't touch it. Oh, I have heavy thoughts, I need to write. It's how I get through. So I honestly, it's hard for me to imagine a version of myself where I never found that. And I'd be worried for that kid. I'd be worried about what else he would find in place of music, because I don't know that whatever he found would be either good or good enough. I just don't know.
You honestly have no idea how much I resonate with you, with what you just said, just on my own personal journey with writing and myself. I've asked myself that question, like both questions, like, who would I be without writing? Who would I be if writing never was in my life? And it took me just the last couple of years to finally realize I don't think I would be anything without writing. Like, writing is who I am, telling stories and connecting people and having conversations like this. Like, if I didn't have this, I would be nothing. And the new motto on my life is, I'm either going to write many books and be an author and public speaker and be meeting people and building communities and bridging communities, or I'm going to die trying. There is no other option.
Yeah, I definitely resonate with that. And it's something that people who I get to this place where I don't believe that there's a person out there who doesn't have that. And maybe that's just, I can't get outside myself, but I can't believe that the people who don't understand it, that it's because they don't have it. I think it's they haven't allowed themselves to discover it, is what I've come to. That there's this intrinsic thing in us where we need to express and create. From the dawn of time, humans have expressed and created. And I think that before there was all this social structure, before there was all of this, what's become society and culture, what's become the way the world works, before that, I think we had a much higher concentration of creative humans in the world. I don't know that for sure. I wasn't there, but I feel strongly that there was expression in a different way in the ancient times than there is now. That there was a lot more art and expression of human life happening. And we've become so bogged down with life is about career, life is about money, life is about success, life is about what you
Material things.
accomplish. And by the way, that like accomplish thing, the way people mean that is never anything actually meaningful. It's what did you accomplish as far as your success? Like, did you buy a house? Did you start a family? Did you, like, I mean, I guess those are, starting a family is a big one. That's not what I mean. I don't mean to lump that in there, but like, it's these markers that every person is supposed to follow, I guess. It's these markers of, did you retire at a certain age? Did you, whatever it is, how many, you know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah,
these
yeah.
markers of your financial success usually, or your career success. And we've gotten so bogged down by those that people now, the idea of having this expression that's a part of you and that's this important to you, it's become so discouraged that I think there's people who are intrinsically creative and they just don't know it because the thought of them feeling that way, it makes that it work, like they're so anti other people being that way that they don't realize they are that way and they've rejected it. Like you know what I'm trying to say? Like I think we all have it.
I
And I
get what you're
think
trying to
that,
say. Yeah.
yeah, it's become this thing that's looked down on because there's none of those success markers are in it. Not from the average person anyway. And so, okay, I'm not going to allow myself to go there because it's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. It's a waste of whatever. And in a way, I think there's a lot of people who are robbing themselves of their humanity by doing that.
I am so glad you just said that. Holy crap. Okay, so that is a great point. Like, robbing yourselves of your humanity by not allowing yourself to be creative. I fully agree with you. I seriously think, like, once upon a time when we were in our ancient cities with our ancient people and we were all doing like our own thing to help survive and help out the village in the way that we knew best how to, but also we were getting together and creating, painting,
Yeah.
singing, dancing, like doing the things that resonated with our souls. And yes, I agree with you. Like, I don't believe like no one person isn't creative. Like, all of us are. That is like the fundamental part of being human, is creation and creativity and connectedness.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? Those ancient people who are creating, it was never about numbers for them.
No.
They
No, it
weren't trying to
wasn't.
sell records. They weren't trying to build a career off of it. They weren't trying to, like, that's now, like, the reason that artists like me are forced into that box where we have to think about it that way is because of this development of these career goals becoming everything, or these financial goals becoming everything. Like, now, if we don't have an answer for that, then it doesn't satisfy anyone. It doesn't satisfy even like I can say that. It doesn't even satisfy the audience who think it would satisfy them, right? Like, for me to tell people, like, and I say it all the time, but I'm always hesitant to really lean into it because it's true that I don't care where this goes. Like, I don't care if I'm making a living off of this or if I'm not. Obviously, I would love it to, but I don't care if it does. But that's not really satisfying even as a member in my audience, because what you're hearing is I'm okay with this not going to the place that you hope it does. Which is, if you're a fan of me and you're supporting me, you're probably supporting me because you want to see me tour. You want to see me have this success. You believe in it, and so you want me to believe in it in that way. But like we've become our society's so, like, we circle this idea of success so much that art can't be art anymore. It's not cool to listen to the artist who has no followers, and it's definitely not cool to listen to the one who's okay with not having any followers. It's not cool to, or it's embarrassing to be the artist with no followers. And we're when you're in high school and a kid starts his SoundCloud rap project, what does everyone do? They laugh. Like, that's what we're built to do. We're built to make, which I have problems with SoundCloud rap and what it is, maybe a little bit, but it is expression, and so I support it. I will always support expression. The kid who makes his first short film, puts it on YouTube, everyone watches it so they can be like, man, didn't that suck? And they make fun of it behind his back. Like, we're trained to do that because we're trained to look at it as, he's never going to make money doing that. No one's going to notice or care doing that. And that wasn't the point of him making the art. The point of making the art was it meant something to him. He expressed something within him. And maybe one of the 300 views he got was someone who it really resonated with. That's the point of art. But we're so success minded, career minded, finance minded that we don't let art be art anymore unless that art is already successful. Then we're willing to look at it as art. And it's so backwards. So backwards. So, and that all comes from those people who can't understand it. They've closed themselves off to it. And they don't even realize that they have a narrow view of art. Oh, this movie's good because it got the funding to go to movie theaters or because I can watch it on streaming. But God forbid someone make a short film, put it on YouTube. I'm not going to watch that. If it was good, like the way they view it, if it was good, it would be successful and I would find it. That's just not true.
To kind of branch off what you're saying, and one, again, get out of my head. I think you're reading my thoughts. But two, I'm kind of the same way when it comes to art and expression. Like, even if I don't necessarily agree with it, like the fact that someone put any effort of energy or creativity in it to make that thing exist into this plane of existence, like, I respect that because I know just as my own self, like what it takes to create. It takes a form of love, of passion, of want, of need, of just every little thing that is human.
Yeah.
I kind of lost the point I was going to say, but maybe I'll find it again somewhere in the ether. But yeah, thank you for reading my thoughts. I appreciate that.
Anytime.
And what is a message you want to tell people who don't create? What do you want to tell them? Like, how would you tell them you need to start creating? Like, what would be the guiding practice?
Honestly, I feel like the people who are so closed off to the idea of creating are going to be the ones who are hostile towards it. Like, to me, the people who come to my mind when I think of people who don't understand it and don't create and don't have an openness to create, they're the people who look at it and they will swipe and see people trying and be like, what an idiot, right? Like, it's hostile. That's a hostile mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And so my response has to be hostile in return, not because it's going to be effective actually, but because I'm not going to be able to help it. My response to them is get over yourself. Like, you've built this version of yourself that you think is so much better. Like, oh, I'm above that. I'm above that because I have career goals, financial goals, success goals. I have this that I think means I'm doing well. But you know what? There's going to be a day where the people who are closed off to it, they come to the end of their life and they haven't really achieved something that's going to leave them remembered in that way. They haven't achieved that domino ripple effect necessarily that they actually saved or changed someone radically through something they did if they weren't creative. Being open to creativity is being open to your humanity. And like, one thing I do want to clarify here is creativity sounds like the arts to everyone. When we talk about creativity, they think art. They think like, oh, it must be painting, visual art, music. It must be performance. It must be. What I'm talking about is personal expression. I think that like a conversation where you're vulnerable and honest with yourself, that's creativity actually. That the way that you weave your words together to connect with another person in a conversation that's real and open and honest, that's creativity too. So really, when I'm talking about people who are closed off to creativity, I'm talking about people who are closed off emotionally, if that makes sense. It's a different step I'm taking. So people like that, they're gonna leave this earth and they're going to have missed on so much potential for impact on the earth that they lived on. And that devastates me. That devastates the hell out of me. That there's people who are going to walk, live, and they were so closed off that they missed the mark. And so I would just tell those people, like I said earlier, get over yourself because you're going to miss it. You're going to miss what the point was this whole time. Open yourself up. Allow yourself to feel the things you're trying not to feel. Allow yourself to express the things you're not allowing yourself to express. And I have this belief that I've said a couple times on my live streams, and it's, call it fate, call it divine intervention, call it whatever you want. But I have this belief that when someone says yes to creative expression every single time, when someone says yes and they do the thing, whatever that thing is, that every single time it will be used for good. Every single time. I have this belief that, like, when I go on my live stream, it's something I tell myself before I hit play and I hit start or whatever, the record, that's the button. That's what I'm looking for. I think go live, whatever the button's called. Whenever I press that button right beforehand, I remind myself that it does not matter how many people join the stream, because I'm saying yes to putting creative expression out in the world. And I firmly believe that just that yes means that the words filtered through my voice, filtered through whatever melodies I'm using, whatever lyrics I'm using, whether they're mine or not, that my voice singing the right words and the right melody at the right time will mean something to the right person. And that's why I do it. In the same way, these people who aren't allowing themselves to feel emotion or to express creatively, they're missing the yes, and they're missing the opportunity to mean something to someone every time they say no. So if you're listening to this and you're closing yourself off emotionally, or you're closing yourself off creatively, get over yourself. just get over yourself and do the thing. Do the thing.
On that note, I actually looked up the definition of creativity, and it kind of resonates with what you said, but what you said, like, expands upon it, like that, the definition. So it's a noun. The use of the imagination or original ideas, or especially in the production of artistic work. But there's also more than that. Creativity is the ability to produce original ideas, theories, or techniques, or to think of something in a new way. And I think everyone who speaks, who acts, who lives, who breathes, anyone who is currently existing has the ability to create because of their own unique self-expression, their own unique, and this might sound a little like metaphysical, but their own unique energy footprint. Like, I do on some level believe in a soul. There's been some weird scientific provings that maybe we might have like a soul or a consciousness or like something we can't see.
Sure.
And I think that's like the part of creativity that, like, the reason why we all have it in us as humans. And thank you for saying that to the people who don't create, because I also have to ask them, like, why are you being judgmental over creation? Why are you hating? Why aren't you taking the mirror on yourself instead? Like, why are you wasting your energy focusing on what other people are doing instead of creating yourself? I will never get that.
Yeah, and it comes down to they're so afraid of other people viewing them the way they view everyone else. That's what it is they know they view others that way, and so they know that others will view them that way, and they're terrified of it. Which it's ironic. They view creativity as this weakness or whatever it is. But to me, the person who's unwilling to go somewhere because they're afraid of what others will think, that's a lot weaker than the person who does it anyway.
I agree.
You know, and I say that there's a difference to me between people who don't create because they think they don't view creativity that way, and people who don't create because they're afraid to put themselves out there. Those are two different things. One person has created, it's now, do I show someone? Or it's one person who's like, I know if I create, I will want to show someone. That's different than the person who says, I don't believe I'm meant to be creative and I'm going to judge other people who are creative. They're two different things. Just even having the thought or I feel like I want to do this, but I'm not sure. Like, I'm scared what people will think, or I'm scared I won't be good at it. That's a totally different fear. So if anyone who's listening and is in that place, you're not the person I'm criticizing.
No, we're not criticizing you.
Yeah. But I will be honest, I am criticizing the ones who are emotionally closed off because it's harmful. So if that's you, get over yourself.
on that note, I agree, because, like, for me, my heart hurts for the people who are closed off and hating on creativity, because I know what that looks like from, like, just being close and personal with it with other people. Like, they are hurting not only, like, other people around them, but they're also hurting themselves, and they're actually hurting themselves more. And I'm like, no. I want everyone to have a good, happy, loving, safe life, and you are hurting yourself by not creating. Stop that. You're freaking me out.
Yeah. Word. Big agree.
Let's see. We haven't talked a lot about your music video and your current projects and your upcoming projects or your past projects. Do you want to talk about those at all? I know you had
Let's do it.
Okay.
Where should I start? The beginning, where we're at now? What feels best to you?
I always think the very beginning is a good place to start, and yes, that might be a song quote, just not verbatim. Let's start at the very beginning.
All right. So I started songwriting and creating when I was 16 years old. And I just had all this weight in me that I didn't know what to do with. My brain was going places I didn't like, and it was scary to me. And I remember I was listening to NF's album Therapy Session had just come out. And there's a track on there, the title track, Therapy Session. At the end of the song, he like explains why he creates to people who don't get it. And he says, like, I need this. He's like, this is therapy for me. He's like, he just literally says that I don't write this for you anyway. I write this because when I write, it helps me cope with what's going on. And so I had this thought, I hear that, and I just have this thought on, I wonder how that helps him. Like, I wonder how writing the words helps him. And so I was like, I should try it. I've always enjoyed music. I've always resonated with music. Music has always helped me just to listen to. I'm like, maybe there's something that I can tap into if I start writing it. And so I did. I started writing, and it quickly went from 1 song to 5 songs to 15 songs to 20 songs. By the time I had 20 songs, one of my best friends, Jacob Wall, he found my phone. I can't remember why he had my phone, but he was flipping through pictures or something, and he happened in my notes app, which, nosy boy, what the heck are you doing? But he's in my notes app. He finds my lyrics. He's like, dude, what is this? And I was like, oh, it's just stuff I wrote. It doesn't mean anything. Like, I started, like, I was really bad. I was like, don't look at it. It doesn't mean anything. He's like, dude, we should just write these songs. He was a guitarist and a singer, and he'd done music his whole life. He was like, from the second he could open his mouth, he was in singing classes, I swear. Super talented dude. And so we did that very first song we did together. I was like, I heard it in my head. I didn't play any instruments besides drums at this point. And so nothing that makes a melody. And so I remember singing, like, I would just sing the parts. I was like, so in my head, I hear this guitar part that goes like, da-na, 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 da. And I like would just sing to him. And he'd be like, you mean like this? And he'd play it because he's ridiculous. And I'd be like, yeah, that's exactly what I just heard in my head. And so like we built this song together where I'd be like, the best I could, this is what I heard. Can you make it come to life? And then he made it come to life for me. And that song was the first song I ever put out. It was called King Suffering. And we started a band called Crowned in Chains. And we released that single, I believe, in 2017, maybe 2018. And then we ended up dropping a record in 2019 called King Suffering. And so the first song I ever wrote, like, lyrically, became the first song I ever saw come to life lyrically, and then the first song I ever released, which is really cool. And I still, like, when we started that band, we wrote a bunch more songs. We had 5 songs. One of them Jacob wrote. The other 4 I wrote. And we put them out on a EP that was really horrendous, like, so bad. We thought it was so good. We recorded it ourselves, and it was just genuinely, like, not good stuff. Like, the execution wasn't good. I think the songs were decent, but the execution was not good. And I'm slinging these demos at my school. I'm trying to get anyone and everyone to buy them for $5 because we were fundraising to go to the studio and make them sound better and make a record. And at that time, we started playing shows. And the live show for me was when it went from this is fun for me and it's expression for me to kind of the mission that it is now. Because I remember one of the first shows we ever did, we played a set, and this person comes up to me and she's crying, and I'm like really confused about it, to be honest. I like didn't expect someone to come up to me crying after a show. Like, I think we played a coffee shop open mic and someone comes up to me crying, and I'm like, what did I do? Like, I thought I was in trouble or something. I was like, are you okay? And she was just like, your words resonated with me so much. And she was just like, thank you for saying the things you said and singing about the things you sang about, because I needed to hear them today. And I was like, whoa, that something was different there. Like that was very different. First of all, I didn't realize the words I was singing were vulnerable. Somewhere along the line, like I forgot that I was singing my own story. And I don't think I realized I was singing it in a way where people could understand what I was talking about. So I got a little nervous. I was like, shoot, I'm not being like as sneaky as I think I am. Like people know what I'm talking about apparently. But also like what I just did meant something to that person. And that to me was so much more valuable than whatever the songs meant to me when I wrote them and when I was singing them. And so then the whole thing changed, right? I started writing songs from a completely different place because, okay, I was a little honest here and it meant something. I can be more honest and it will mean more. And so I wrote more honest and we played more shows. And I remember right before I left for college, we played this show in Jacob's backyard. He had like a gorgeous backyard barn. And so we cleaned out the barn. We played a show there for everyone ahead of our record. It was mostly friends and family, but a few people we didn't know came through, which was cool. And we just sang our album straight through pretty much. And it was the first time I had sung some of those songs not in the studio. And this person came up to me after that show and told me her story. And her story was drastically different from my story in a lot of ways. But the similarity there was that she was broken and was in a place where she had been seriously contemplating, for the sake of not wording things in a way too strongly. She was trying to figure out what she was doing on Earth, what she would like, what the point of sticking around was. And she just said, like, your music just explained to me why I should stick around. And I was like, that is the most valuable thing I can offer someone right there, is that I've kind of sung my story and explained why I'm choosing to stick around, even though it's really hard for me. This person got it. They heard the words, they read between the lines, they got it. And now they've decided that whatever I explained emotionally and logically, it resonated with them, and they're going to make the same decision. And that was like, this whole thing now means everything, right? It's not fun anymore when it becomes that serious. It becomes essential. It becomes like, if I had that impact on one person, I need to follow this so I can have that impact on as many people as possible. So the band puts out our first record, King Suffering, a few months after that. And, the night before it releases, I have a full-blown panic attack for the first time in my life. I'm on the floor in my dorm. I'm crying, I'm sweating, I'm freaking out, and I have no idea why. And it's this really charged moment. I'll never forget it. And I realized, like, what's going through my head is that I've wrote this whole record because of the impact on a person like that. I hadn't considered that everyone who knows me personally will be listening to this and hearing my story. Like, there was this disconnect, this cognitive disconnect in the fact that what I was recording in the studio, my friends and family are going to hear it. And I genuinely did not consider it until the day before it releases. It's already distributed. People have already pre-ordered physical. Like, it's gonna happen. There's no stopping it. It's gonna happen. And I'm freaking out, like absolutely freaking out. And so this thing happened in that moment that hurt my music career every single step moving forward until very recently, which is I never wanted to feel that fear again. And so as the band continued on, as I kept writing music for a very long time, I never went there anymore. I never worded the songs in a way that was so open and so honest that I was worried my friends and family would hear it and think something of it. Moving forward, the band, we started working on a second album. I wrote it completely lyrically. I had it all ready. We started taking the songs to the studio and recording them professionally, and the sound was better, the quality was bigger. Like, we were really wanting to do big things. And then COVID hits. And, we were hoping to try and do a tour where we'd open for artists all over the place, finally go meet some of our fans who'd stuck with us for a couple years. And COVID hits, and we just come to this realization that what the band was to me was drastically different than what the band was to the other guys. The other guys, it was like a way to hang out. It was fun for them. They love music. They love playing music. But that's kind of as far as it went. Whereas for me, like, I was waking up, going to sleep, thinking about this thing. It was like my reason to stay alive. And it just wasn't. Basically, I had asked the band, I had asked the guys individually, if we get a record deal, are you changing your life and switching up your life to pursue this thing? And they individually, all of them were just like, no, I'm not doing that. That's not what I want. And so I had to break up the band, because I was like, that is what I would want. That's what this is to me. It's if I get a chance to do this and make it everything I ever have to do for the rest of my life, I'm gonna do it. And so I had released solo music side projects just under my own name, Daniel Sherman, for a few years. I started in, I believe, 2019. Yeah, so the band's album was 2018. I misspoke earlier. The band's album was 2018. I started releasing solo music in 2019. I wrote this song called Seasons. The band had rejected it, and so I put it out. And I always viewed my solo music as this side project that hopefully would pour people, like, people might find it and it would pour them into the band stuff, or people who were waiting for the band to do something. Because it took us forever to put out a song because we needed the money first, because we were recording very professionally. It was like, this will hold you over until the real band stuff comes out. But now with the band broken up, it's like, I need my solo music to be the main thing all of a sudden. And like, in the most perfect timing of divine intervention, Mike Shinoda reaches out from Linkin Park, and he sends me this DM, and the DM just really simply says, hey, no big deal, Mike Shinoda, hey, would you be interested in having me produce one of your songs live on Twitch? And I'm like, you are literally my musical hero. Like, yes, I want you to do that. Like, I remember my brother getting his driver's license. He's 16. I'm 8 years old. I get in the car, and he's like, listen to this. He plugs in his iPod, which shows you how long ago it was. It was 2008. He plugs in his iPod, and he plays me Paper Cut by Linkin Park, and my life was changed forever. Like, I didn't know music could do that up until that point. So, like, Mike Shinoda, key figure in my musical development, and he wants to do a song with me. Like, yes. And then I had this show coming that I was calling the Lonely Live Show. It's a digital live stream concert. Again, it's coming off of COVID. No one can tour. No one can do shows. So I'm like, I'm going to do a digital live show. Just me for the first time doing a live show. And I'm able to play that song in it now, the song from Mike. And I was like, this is going to be the pinnacle. And it was like the biggest turnout. I think I had 1,000 people watch it in the first 24 hours, which was huge for me. Like, that had never happened. 1,000 individual people looking at my stuff at the same time. Crazy. And so I'm just so motivated. I'm like, okay, the next step is make the debut solo album. So I put together this record called Uncaged. I had been working on it since COVID started. Honestly, didn't think it was ever going to come out because it just felt too big of a thing to do when I still had the band. But now it was like, okay, this actually has to come out. Completely self-produced, completely self-written, mixed and mastered by my buddy Giovanni Piazza. We had done, by this point, a few collaboration albums where he produced and I just rapped on them. We put out this Uncaged record, and it does pretty well. It doesn't do as well as I wanted, but it does pretty well. And that was like I can actually do this. Like, that was the mark of I'm capable of doing this music thing, was that I made an album. It was completely mine. It was exactly my vision. It sounded exactly how I wanted it to, with the limitations only being the hardware and the gear we had and the money we had. I was like, I think I can do this alone, actually, successfully. And so not far after that, I signed with my previous label. We started putting out a couple records. I put out a folk series. I put out, I do this full-length film that's part documentary, part short film, part music video, which sounds so confusing. If you haven't seen it yet, just go look up I Dream the Future, Daniel Sherman. It's probably the thing I've done that I'm most proud of up until what I'm doing now. huge project. Basically, I go into the studio and I say, in 3 days, I'm going to start and finish 4 songs. And then I'm going to leave the studio with that footage of me creating it and with the songs. And I'm going to develop a full music video storyline for this one project. And that was my first time video editing. I edited the whole thing myself. It was incredibly stressful. And I released that project and it bombs. It does not go where I wanted it to. It does not achieve what I wanted it to. I put so much of myself into it that the second it was out, I actually became extremely sick. I had to go to the hospital because I just given it I was not allowing myself to rest or feel that I was sick until after it was done. I've never had that before. I had a full body physical experience right after a project, but I gave that one so much of myself that my body just couldn't anymore after I finished it. And it didn't do what it was supposed to. I did this thing called the Unreleased Demos Project where I was selling CDs for pretty cheap, and each CD was like a collectible. Only 30 people, only 10 people, only 5 people, only one person was going to have the same CD you have. And it had a song that was never going to be released on streaming services on it. That project bombed. I still have them. I think I sold a third of them. I still have 2/3 of those in my room. They never went anywhere. And so I start getting this inclination that something went wrong, and I don't know what it was. Something's not working. And what is it that's not working? And when I start tracing it back to when did it feel the most like it was working, I went back to that first album I ever did with the band. And I realized kind of what I already spoiled towards the beginning of this conversation. I got so freaked out knowing that friends and family were going to hear what I was saying that I just stopped saying the things I was supposed to. That doesn't mean the music was bad. I made some songs I'm so proud of, but I didn't go. Whenever the music tried to lead me somewhere a little too honest, that song either got changed or it got scrapped. And I couldn't do that anymore. And I knew I couldn't do that anymore. Then the other factor was when I got with this label, suddenly my focus was, okay, how do I get this profitable? How do I get this profitable? How do I get this profitable? Because now I'm spending ridiculous amounts of money on this and I'm seeing no return and it's not sustainable. There's going to be a moment where this pops and I can't do it anymore. So how do I make this profitable? How do I make this profitable? And when profit's your goal, the art's going to suffer every single time. It's my firm belief. And so with all these things in my head, I decide I need to kill this Daniel Sherman thing. It's not working. To be clear, I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about the brand. This Daniel Sherman brand needs to die. It needs to stop because it's already dying in front of me, and I diagnosed the issue. And so I put out my last record. It honestly was my most honest thing I'd put out since that band stuff, and it was too little, too late. People really resonated with it in a really big way, but it was too little, too late. It didn't have the success it needed to either. And for the next year and a half, with pretty much no communication with anyone online for most of that time, I start working on what I think is going to be an EP. That EP eventually became an album called Fear, which is what I'm releasing in October. And the Storyteller was born, this new persona, this new character, this new brand. And my commitment when I was coming back was that I need to leave everything out on the table. I need to be extremely vulnerable and open and honest in whatever I say and whatever these songs are. I need to make sure that I'm not releasing something when it's good enough. I need to release it when it's right. I need whatever my social media presence is, it has to be cleaner, it has to be more polished, and it also has to be more meaningful. And the second I start worrying about money again and about finance and about the success of the project numerically, I need to get away from the creative side and I need to pause. I need to remind myself why I'm doing this. And that was when I knew I was ready to start launching this project and doing it. And so that kind of catches us up to today. I've released an EP called Setting the Scene, which was a collaboration between Daniel Sherman and the Storyteller. Because that EP it voices the change and it kind of paints a picture of what's changing. So the first 2 songs I view as Daniel Sherman songs. The first 2 songs are Setting the Scene and Hostage Situation. Those are the fulfillment of the Daniel Sherman brand, and then Dead to Me is the first Storyteller song. And then I've released one single from my record called Afraid of the Day. That's going to be track 2 on the album. And then I'm about to release the second song, which is called Relate. And I've got the record dropping in the fall, and I'm super excited about it. So there's I don't know how long I was talking, probably like 8 years, but that is my musical story, straight through for all of you.
I fully feel like I'm caught up, and full disclosure, as much as I've wanted to dive into all of the lore of all your projects and music and history, because I know in the Discord you've like kind of helped like with like kind of laying that out, and I know some of your friends and like other people who have been in the before times with you, like I know they've helped with that too, and I just don't have like the attention span or bandwidth to dive in, so hearing it is like my favorite way of getting it, so thank you for that.
Yeah, I've got you. It's overwhelming. I mean, I think there's over 170 songs. Wow. It's an insane catalog, and just to be blunt, like a lot of it isn't great. I was learning. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I needed it. I needed to learn, and I needed to put it out there too. But it's like over 170 songs. And so one of the other things too, when I restarted, was I want to make it where that's accessible to anyone who cares. But I don't want it to be essential. Like I don't want it to be like, kind of like how Marvel movies feel right now. Like you got to watch all these TV shows and all these movies to understand what's going on. Like you're now at hours of commitment. Like, no, I don't want to make people go through hours of commitment to understand fully who I am or what I'm doing. So that was another part of the reason for the restart, was at a certain point, if you get into an artist and then you see they have over 170 songs of backlog, you're going to be like, not for me at this point. Versus now, you look at my Spotify, it's like, oh, he has 4 songs out. I can do that. That I can do.
I like that you have kept your old music from a Daniel Sherman project, and is it Crowned in Chains? Did I get that right?
Yeah. Yep.
I like that you've kept those up, and I also like that you've incorporated the playlist to be able to find them on the Storyteller page on Spotify and like other places, because like I have like listened to some of the other stuff, and it has kind of helped paint the picture of like where you started and where you are now. And I've met musicians and I've met people who like want to delete their past projects, and I'm like, I respect that they want to do that, do what you want to do, like live your life, be free. But for me, as someone who likes story and likes people and likes the human condition and all its like travesty and also like beauty, like I don't want people to delete things. I don't like deleting things. There are probably some posts of mine that are never going to be deleted that probably should from years ago, but like I'm evolving, I'm changing, I'm learning, I'm growing. Like who I am 5 years ago is not necessarily who I am now.
Yeah, for me that decision was, I have to pay to keep those songs up actively. And it gets tempting every time that charge on my account comes through to just stop paying it and let go of them. But it comes back to what the point of this whole thing is for me, right? Like if I am really doing this because I believe in the impact, that's another yes I'm saying to creative expression. It's a yes I said back in 2017, 18, 19, 20, whenever it was. And like I know those songs mean something to someone. I see that people still listen to them. Like hold on, I can do this right now on the phone. Pause interview. I mean, don't pause the interview, but I'm going to go look. I'm pulling up my Spotify for Crown and Chains, the band that has been dead for literal years. We, in 2020, stopped being a band. This month, 77 people listened to our music. 77 people, and this is across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There were 16 songs played in the last month by those 77 people. So why would I take those songs down? There's 77 people who are coming back to them because they mean something. Now, if I go look at Daniel Sherman, 936 monthly listeners. That's actually still more than I have on the Storyteller, kind of aggravating. But it's because there's so much more catalog that so many more people over time have seen. And so there's all these songs that are getting streamed because they still mean something to someone. So like I think the artist inclination is, oh, I'm not proud of that, so I'm gonna take it down, right? Like, oh, I don't like how that sounds. I didn't know what I was doing yet. I didn't, and that all is probably true. I'm not gonna say that's not true. You probably didn't know what you're doing, and it probably is not the best art in the world, but it's art that someone out there might need. You know, it's part of your own story. That's so cool that people can find it and hear you evolve that way. But it's also it's art. Like I just don't believe that any art should ever be destroyed and inaccessible.
I agree.
Because it has the power to mean something, you know? Even art that's made with the intent of malice, even art that's made to say something horrible and vile, like you could take that art and have it be a reflection of the darkest parts of humanity, and it becomes powerful for good, even though it's not the intention of the creator. Like I genuinely believe that all art has its place in the world, which is the extent to which I believe that's maybe controversial. But whenever a human expresses, I think it immediately takes on value.
I don't, to kind of sidestep a little, or not sidestep, but branch off of what you're saying as far as like the ugly parts of humanity and art. That's kind of one of the things I've wrestled with when it comes to writing my debut novel, 21 Days Gone. Like, this book is a truth turned fiction. It's going to be my first book. It's going to be the book that I somehow largely feel like I was meant to write and always have been meant to write. I don't know how much you know of my story, but for just keeping it short's sake, I experienced a lot of trauma from pretty much birth and conception to about 5 or 6 years old via sexual assault, amongst other things. And my story, 21 Days Gone, is my story, but like fictionalized in a way. What I want to do with that is I want to like mirror and like show like the bad things that people have done and continue to do to other people and themselves, and be like, hey, we have a choice. Are we going to continue to do these vile deeds and stuff like this debauchery? Are we going to continue to do this, or are we going to choose to better ourselves and better humanity? And that's kind of the takeaway that I want, even in like the disgusting, like bad malice art, you know? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it totally does. It totally does. And you know, the art, I remember a quote, I don't remember where it comes from, but the truest art should be uncomfortable, is the quote. The truest art should always be uncomfortable. I think it's so important to make art that unveils these really uncomfortable truths and uncomfortable, you know, parts of human history, parts of our history, parts of whatever. I think that art is the most powerful art, the art that's uncomfortable, the art that disrupts. And yeah, so I think it's super important what you're doing, for sure.
I like what you're doing too, and I want to note, please don't listen to people and write happy songs. I mean, of course, write what you want, but like, I love that you pour so much emotion and energy into that, into your work, into you, into your life, into the world around you, because like that's important too. What you're doing is so, pardon my French, but damn important. Like, keep going, okay? Keep going.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Definitely appreciate it, because there's so many times where it's easy to stop, and like I'm constantly very aware that's an option for me to stop. So, you know, if you're listening to this and you know some creatives out there, remind them not to, because I guarantee a lot of them have thought about it.
I know you are doing the Storyteller right now. Is there any interest in the future to be a part of a band again, or are you kind of meandering on your own little path, or big path, your own path here?
You know, I think in a perfect world, the Storyteller would become a band. I think that's the dream for me. The problem with that is that, like, that band I was with, the first time around, they were my best friends. They still, like, I still see those people all the time. They still are like my best friends in the entire world.
I love that.
And I think that that's a critical part of a band, is that if there's not that deep connection with the people you're doing music with, I mean, not that it can't be successful, but it's a different thing. It becomes like there's some bands who they genuinely hate each other when they go on stage, and that kind of is what makes it work in a way. Like that tension is palpable in a way that you just eat up. But that's with the message I'm trying to give and what I'm trying to push. It can't be like that. It has to be people who just so strongly resonate that, I think I have this desire for this to be a band, but I don't know that I'll ever find the people, and I'm choosing to not let that stop me. I think a band would be so much more comfortable for me. I don't like having it all on my shoulders. I don't like I'm trying to figure out live shows, and it's really daunting to think about being the only person on stage, no safety net. Like if I fail myself. I'm the only one who takes it. Whereas before, when the band failed, it was spread evenly through the 4 of us, the 5 of us. And it was just like, it's lighter that way. It's a heavier thing when it's just you. But I know what I have to say is so important, or at least it's so important to me, that despite not having a band, I'm doing it alone. And so I would love for it to be a band. I just need the right people in my life to do that, and I don't have them yet. So I'm very open to turning this into a band, but would I ever do a band separate from the Storyteller? I think anything I do separate from the Storyteller is going to come second to it. It would have to be a really, really captivating proposal being made to me for me to take any band project more seriously than I take the Storyteller. Which is what, like, if I found the right collaborators, I would just want to bring them into what I'm doing. But I don't know if that'll ever happen. We'll see. I hope so. Honestly, I would love for the Storyteller to be a band. I just don't know. I don't know that they're out there. I feel like I've already found the people who that could work with, and we did it for a bit, and it was amazing, and it's over. So now it's just me. I will say with the caveat to that is that, I just said that it's just me, and in a lot of ways it's really not. Giovanni, who I mentioned, was the mix and engineer and mastering engineer on some of my projects under Daniel Sherman. He is my sole creative collaborator for the Storyteller. He is engineering every session while I'm producing most of the time. Sometimes I produce alone, but most of the time he's there with me. He's mixing with me, and he masters himself. Like, when I talk about the Storyteller, something I want to make clear is, like, it's my face, it's me on stage, it's my words and my melodies and my production and my songs for sure, but Gio's fingerprint is all over it too. He is so important to it. And, he doesn't have the desire for the stage side of things. He doesn't have the desire for the getting behind the camera or doing the interview thing or the podcast thing, or like that whole element of this thing he doesn't love. But I'm always going to try to remember to mention him, because he's like, whenever I'm working on something in audio land, he's involved in it. He's so important to it. So in a way, I get, while I'm creating the songs, that band vibe that I want. Through him, I get the camaraderie, I get the friendship, and that's actually a huge part of how I knew the Storyteller would work. When I came back, was I called him and I said, I want to make an album. I'm not going to make it if you're not part of it. I told him, I think you're the only person who I can collaborate on this new thing I'm trying to launch and have it work, because when the two of us are in a room, it's just fun and it just feels right. And that's one of the things I'd been missing on a lot of my Daniel Sherman projects, was I was missing that element of fun and camaraderie and friendship and in that band feel. And so he gives me that. So in a way I have it now, just not a 360 band. I have him for the front 33%, and then the other 2/3 I'm on my own. But but he's a really important part of this.
I was gonna say it actually kind of sounds like you have a band, but not like a traditional like garage band or 4-part band that's, you know, like Kiss or 21 Pilots or anything like that. Like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I like that you do have that kind of feeling still, because that creating with other people is one of the how do I say this? Creating with other people, even if it is like solely your own like project and your own energy, there's something to that. There's something, it's like that connectedness I was talking about, creativity and connectedness, doing that overlap thing.
Yeah, me and Gio have talked a lot about how when we were at the recording studio and there were interns coming in and out, we had noticed that it's just another body in the room changes the energy. Another soul, maybe is the better way to word that. Another soul in the room changes the energy of the song every time. And so the thing there for me is, as often as possible, I want to bring other human energy into my music. And especially Gio's, he just has such a good energy to him that I love to tap into. But also like picking who you allow into your music is so important, because they will imprint on it. The right people will always imprint on it in a way that benefits the art, and that's palpable in all the best ways. The wrong people will always hurt it every single time. And that's something I've had to learn. And so it's really interesting. Like, I can't even fully explain what that means. If you're not one of the creatives doing it, you're not going to feel it. You're not going to be in tune to that. But the right person just walking into the room, whether they say anything or not, versus the wrong person walking into the room, it instantly changes what the ones who are being creative are doing. It's just, you know, kind of go back to what we talked about earlier. It's such an intrinsically human thing to create that every other human who even just spectates it affects it. It's really, really interesting. I haven't really been in tune to that until this last year. So it's been really fascinating to try and tap into it in a way that benefits the art.
I like what you said there. So to kind of add my own thought and point to that, there's a thing, or an Instagram account I follow called Shaolin Masters, and they have a lot of interesting, like, Eastern culture type beliefs and philosophies. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but they actually said the other day in a video I caught something like that, like, when you walk into a room, you can feel the energy of the other person. They don't have to say anything, they don't have to do anything, but you can just see whether they're happy or sad or lost in their head or present. And it's like an instinct thing. It's like a reactive, or like a reactivity to energy. Like, I don't know how to like word it without having the video and stuff in front of me right now, but like, is what I'm saying making sense at all?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Totally.
That's like one of the things I love diving into with the human condition, is how we interact with each other. Because I'm sure we all want to leave a positive impact on people. At least I hope we all want to leave like a positive impact on ourselves and people in the world around us. And seeing that in action through art, through creativity, through music, through community, like, I can't get over how powerful and amazing that is.
Yeah. Yeah, it really brings everything together. The community element of it. It ties. I think that's the community element of it. It's something that I don't want to say I took for granted in the early stages. But I think I didn't realize that's why any of it worked or mattered before. Like that, the people, like I was building community on accident initially. I was like giving them something to rally behind, and I knew that, but I didn't realize that, like I just think back, there's people who still listen to my music who are from those early days in Crown of Chains, and they know each other and care about each other. They've met each other in real life. They've become lifelong friends. I have two people who were fans of my music who are now roommates in college, that they know each other strictly because of my music.
That's
And it's
awesome.
like, it's unreal to, like, that's one of those things when people start looking at me like, why do you still do it? Why do you think it matters? Like, that's why. Like, these two people are now lifelong friends because they both resonated with something I did. How is that not, like, you know what? No, I didn't make money. No, I didn't tour the world. No, I don't have the success you want me to. That matters more, though. Like, that to me is like, all right, whatever project did that, success. It did the right thing. So I think, during that little year and a half break between the Daniel Sherman and the Storyteller, community, I just it clicked for me for the first time that community was that missing piece that I needed to not accidentally create. I needed to intentionally create, and I needed to talk about, and I needed to push, because that really is what ties the whole entire thing and its mission together, is the community element. That's the essential piece.
So, I really need to stop starting sentences with so but on the community note aspect, and I've dropped it a few times about your Discord and stuff. Tell me in your own words, like, why you created Discord, why Discord is the place you decided upon, and if there are other places you plan on creating the community, because that's kind of how I started with my own community, and I'm trying to like expand upon that, because not everyone uses Discord, but also like just use all of my resources. So like, how did you do that? What was the decision? What, like, Discord me, tell me all of it.
Yeah, I don't think Discord will always be the place. Okay. I think it's the place for now. What I'm really looking for is a hub where I have most of the people discovering me right now are coming from TikTok. Most of the people who already knew me came from Instagram. And then there's this weird, like, random 15% of people coming from YouTube. And I had no place for them all to come together. People who are on Instagram, they don't like the jump to TikTok. People who are on TikTok, they aren't going to use Instagram the same way as those people who find me on Instagram. And the people on YouTube, if they're looking at YouTube Shorts, they're not doing any of the other stuff. So where can I, try and filter all those people to the same place at? And Discord was just the place that had the infrastructure in place to do that really easily. I think right now it's the best place. I want to find a different way, though. I really do. I don't know if it's going through. I don't know if I have to create it. Maybe I need to make my own app in my own place where it's like, hey, this is where you can find that community. Maybe it's starting something completely new. I don't know. I don't even know how to do that. But what I wanted was, regardless of what platform you find me on, regardless, even if you care at all about my music or not, if you're someone who's looking for other people to just know you exist and care that you exist and listen when you have something to say and respond and start a dialogue with you, like, if you're someone who's at that level of, I need someone out there, then there's a place where you can find it. You have to take the leap to download the Discord app if you don't have it, to join the server and to introduce yourself, which is uncomfortable. But if you're truly desperate for that type of community, it is now accessible to you to have it. That's why I made it, and that's why it exists. I want it to end up being on a platform that's easier, more comfortable, easier for anyone and everyone to jump in on. I know Discord, like, I'm still confused by Discord. I'm not good at it. That's why I have my intern Kim doing all the stuff for me, because I'm really bad at it. I don't fully understand it, but I know, like, I have this desperate need for a place, a hub for all my people to be. And so that's why it exists. It'll probably move someday. I don't know to where. I don't know how or when. But I don't want it to stay here forever. But it'll probably stay here for a while. But yeah, it's just to create that initial connection point, to get rid of, like, I don't want anyone who sees my video to need to be alone. They can choose to be known by someone if they want to. That's what it's for.
When I link your Discord in like the article blogs I do and some of the podcast episodes I do, because I do talk about it, full disclosure. I don't know if you listen to the remaining episodes, but I do talk about your community and what you're doing and trying to do sometimes. And the reason I do that is because, as I've mentioned before, like, just on my own journey and my own path, I've been wanting my entire life for people not to go through what I've gone through. When I was younger, after I came out of the hole of everything, I started researching and digging into philosophy and different world religions and viewpoints and spirituality and just everything. And that's where I started to understand that I can take what happened to me and turn it into something good, turn it into a way where people don't have to suffer, they don't have to be alone, they don't have to go through such traumatic hardships. And that's what I want. I don't want the world to suffer. There's a song you're coming out with that is gonna break me. All right, I know it's gonna break me because it's true. Like, I wish it didn't have to be this way. I wish we didn't have to be sad and have tragedy, but like, it happens, and I feel better that it happens when I can experience that, like, with other people and be like, hey, like, we can talk about this. So I'm like tangenting, but my creating my own Discord community, my trying to create my own communities and like connect communities with other communities is my way of like trying to like not let people be alone. So when I'm linking your Discord and stuff and trying to bring people to a community, it's because like what you're doing, what I'm trying to do too. Like, you're trying to bring people back to their humanity.
Yeah.
You're trying to bring people back to the center of their being, like, just as themselves and as the human collective as a whole. And that's, I guess on some level I probably realized how important that was, but I didn't start grasping how like fundamental that was until just a few years ago. And now I'm on this insane mission where I'm like, I have to connect every community possible. I have to connect every single person together through their stories, through their emotions, through their just brain thoughts. Like, I have to do this. I have to bring the people to people. I don't care who you are. We're gonna become better together. I promise.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's so important. I appreciate you sharing that link whenever you get the chance. Because I do like, however, one of the weird tension points I'm in is I know that there's strength in numbers. And so I'm trying not to care about them because I don't want it to affect the art. But I also know that the more people who experience it, the more power there is in it. And so I'm always trying to grow it. I'm always trying to encourage the people who are a part of it already to help grow it. But I also, I don't know, it's this weird tension point because I don't need it to grow. But of course I have the desire for it to grow, and I have the desire for anyone who wants it to be able to find it and experience it. So I don't know where that leaves me. I guess it leaves me, I'm still doing promo and marketing and all that. And then it maybe looks weird to people who hear me say, I don't care about the numbers. They're like, well, you clearly do. I want to impact anyone who needs the impact, you know? So I appreciate you being one of the people who's mobilized, who's trying to share it. It helps. It means a lot.
I think what we're trying to do here is we're trying to find a balance with how the modern society works, with what resonates with our souls, our core values and as people. So I love that you don't care about numbers, and also like kind of do a little bit. Like I fully resonate with that. I get that. Like, I don't care about numbers either. I don't care about making this like an actual career at the end of the day. Like, it would be nice, but like, I care more about the people element. I care more about making sure we have a better tomorrow than the tomorrow or the yesterdays that we've had, you know. So thank you for what you're doing, and just thank you for providing these spaces and trying. It means a lot to me, truly.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that.
Do you have any questions for me? You can literally ask me anything. I share so much sometimes.
Questions. I don't know. Full disclosure, I woke up like 10 minutes before we started this thing, so I don't know how in there I am yet. But
well, hopefully there's another show in the future.
There we go. Let's do it.
All right, cool. All right, we've talked about your past projects, your little bit of your current. How about we talk about the Relate song, possibly?
Yeah. That song is interesting because it's so grounded in the past. I think I've been working on that song for 4 years. It was originally going to be a part of a collaboration album that I was going to do under the Daniel Sherman name. And every song on the album was going to be a collaboration. And I just had this realization in that project that a lot of the songs I was starting and was pitching to other people, it was like I was pitching them because the song wasn't working. And I was like, maybe this person will fix it. And that's not how you do a collaboration. Like it was grounded in something that wasn't right. And so Relate was one of those songs that I had half a song for 4+ years ago. And I just never finished it. I was going to have someone else hop on and do it. And then most of those songs like kind of just faded to the background. I never thought about them again. I didn't worry about them. They didn't keep me up at night. They never made their way onto other projects. But this song, Relate, and one other song, I still thought about them. The melodies were still in my head. The words were still in my head. And so when I was working on this album, Fear, I realized that Relate is almost like this thesis statement for why I make music and what I do and also what I'm hoping to achieve with it. And so I realized like it's such a good song to have on a debut album. Like I over the years they could have landed on so many other projects and it just didn't. And I'm so glad it didn't, because it being on this debut album is so important to me that it's like there's this song that tells you everything I'm about. And it's like pretty early in the record. And so, I'm really excited to release it. Essentially what the song is saying in the chorus is like, I wish that no one cared about my music, because the nature of the type of music I make, it's sad. It's about tragedy. It's about the human condition, which I believe tragedy and grief are actually the single connection point we will have to every human being who has ever lived and will ever live. Every human will experience tragedy and grief. And those are the only things that every human is assured that we'll all experience, in my opinion. And so I wish, though, that in me making music about this topic, that there was no one to relate to, because the fact that they're listening means that they know the same pain as me. And so it's kind of this song about like, why do I make the sad music? Because everyone relates. And I make it for the ones who are just honest enough to admit it.
I agree with you on that. The every human being will experience grief or tragedy in some way, or even both. And I feel like we all have this need or desire, especially if we've been through, the worst of the worst, just even recently. Like we have this desire for a peaceful utopia, and I call things an almost utopia because in my experience and my understanding, I fully understand that I think we kind of need the tragedy and the grief to be human. I think we kind of need the badness, because if we didn't have that, would we be able to appreciate the love and the light that we are also so very capable of. I don't think we would be able to. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, completely agree.
It's sad. It's sad that we have to have these things, but it's also kind of beautiful in a way.
Yeah, in a weird, twisted way it is, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. I know this is kind of a project thing you were trying to do with the I Relate song. Did you want to kind of talk about that here and try to see if people want to jump in on this? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do. I'm not sure. I mean, yeah, we'll talk about it. I'm trying to figure it out still. I had this idea for the music video where one of the things that it would cut to is actual fans of mine or actual fans of music like mine would be holding up pieces of paper that say why they relate to music like that. Just as like it's a way to, kind of like I talked about earlier, to further humanize what I'm doing, to give other people an opportunity to tell their story a little bit, not a lot of it, but a little bit, however much you can fit on a piece of paper or cardboard that you hold up. And so I'm hoping it works out. I guess I haven't said that on this podcast, but I recently parted ways with my label, and one of the biggest things I'm trying to figure out with that is video content, how I'm going to pull it off. So I don't know how this video will come together, but I'm definitely still accepting anyone who wants to send in just a clip of them holding up a sign that says why they relate. It's that simple. I relate because blank. Yeah, I'm hoping to release that video still. I just need to figure out how to get it done.
I don't want to self-insert myself into your projects, but as I said earlier, I can't help it. My mind just wants to be involved because it's like I see the vision and I want to help the vision. So if I can, if you have any like you need any thoughts or like perspective, like feel free to message me or reach out. If you need help, I want to try to do my best to help because I see what you're trying to do. I like what you're trying to do. A lot of what you're trying to do is kind of like what I'm trying to do. So like, if we can help each other be better of our own selves and like stuff, like thank you for one. And also like, I want to help. If I can help, I want to help.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I'll take you up on that sometime for sure.
What was I going to say? Speaking on music videos, you said, or did you do all your music videos through your label that you recently parted ways with?
So the biggest thing with the label was that they gave me access to the gear, the cameras, the lights, the space. A lot of the videos were recorded in their live room at the actual studio. And then the person behind the camera. So I always had a videographer. I would direct them. I would write them. I would do all of that part. But I had the resources and the space and the people I needed to achieve it. Whereas now I don't have that. So it makes it tricky. I have the concepts honestly have the scripts and the storyboards for every song on the album to have its own video. I have none of the means now to execute it. So it's a figuring out the resource side of it, and allocating a little bit of my personal money probably is what needs to happen to execute some of these. But I just need to figure them out. There's a few different things that have been, the label used to take care of this, now I'm taking care of this. So how do I figure it out? And so still navigating some of those things.
You said you wrote and directed all your own music videos. You were just using the equipment and stuff. So tell me your music video processing, and I will ask other questions I have that are burning later. Like for you, like to create the music video, especially the last one, the one that incorporates all three of your songs on your EP, like I can tell everything was super intentional. Like every scene, every line, everything you did in that video, even the one that with the song that you produced with Mike Shinoda, like your music videos have like an immense amount of intention with them. Like tell me about that.
Yeah, I kind of use music videos as a place to put the lore. So my music has a fictional storyline behind it that's honestly, I always don't always realize how deep it goes until I start trying to explain it to someone who's working with me, and I see their face when I explain it to them, and I'm like, oh yeah, there's kind of a lot here. Um, so there's this fictional storyline that I just don't have any other way to communicate, and so I use the music videos as a place to communicate that. And so for me, the starting point of any music video is, what is this song, what place does this song have in the lore that no one will know unless I show them? And then it's, okay, how do I show them? It's really, those two steps are the entire thing. It's, okay, what do I need to communicate, that this is the only format in which I can communicate it, and then how do I communicate that? And usually, to be just totally frank with you, what is the cheapest way for me to communicate that without breaking the bank on set design, on effects, on, other things that I need to bring in? So I am still just a little baby in this industry. I don't got loads of money back in me. Even with the label, it's not like I had all these like funds to pull. So So I have, the way my album is laid out is it tells a story in a fictional world behind the scenes, start to finish. Um, and so the videos would be really focused on, how do I communicate what I'm trying to say through that storyline? Um, how do I let them into that lore a little bit more? Because it's there. If you listen to the music, I make sure you're given just enough that if you're looking for it in the music, you can find it. But also, if you're not looking for it, you almost don't even notice it's there. That's like kind of the line I try to walk with lore in my music. So the video is the place where I can be upfront and be like, here it is. Now try and figure it out.
So if I'm going to try to figure out the music video for Setting the Scene, that is the correct title of that video, right? Setting the Scene?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Clearly there's a lot of moving parts in there. I feel like your story on that, and please correct me if I'm wrong, you're kind of killing off the old parts of you while also letting the old parts of you kind of fester into the new parts of you. Like the old parts of you, even though they're not there anymore, they're still there, guiding you forward. I feel like in that video, without watching it in front of me, and I didn't barely, but I watched it this morning to kind of prepare for this.
Yeah.
It has like everything from like the old projects to the new, and it's like kind of like a wrap almost. Does that make sense? Am I making sense?
Totally.
Okay.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, totally. It's that one was really daunting to me because I had, I think, 10 minutes? It's a 10-minute video. I had 10 minutes to do a lot of things that I wanted to accomplish. I wanted to tie up loose ends with the Daniel Sherman thing and launch a new thing. And I needed to show you that the storyline of this album, there's actually two storylines that are parallel to each other. And so I had to introduce parallel storylines. I had to wrap up the Daniel Sherman storyline, and I had to launch the Storyteller storyline. It was a lot to navigate. So there's loads of stuff in there. And so one of the things too with the way I do these videos is I don't like telling you the full picture. I like one of my goals when I do lore driven stuff is I don't think I ever really want to reveal what actually happens. Like I want to leave it where you have to figure it out and make your own interpretation of it. There is a chance that, like, one of the things I've tried to do a couple times and it just hasn't panned out, and I really hope to succeed in it in the future, is a novel. One of the fears with a novel is that you have to answer the questions. Like, you can't leave it when you're watching something. It can be, what did I just watch? Like, what actually just happened? But when you tell it in a book, it's like, you know what just happened. Like, you have to describe what happened. So for now with these videos, one of the best and worst parts of them is I'm telling you, but I'm also really not telling you what's happening. Like there's no way that you can watch that video without knowing what I know and get everything right about what's happening on that screen, because it's I'm showing you without any dialogue, without any descriptors, without any context, a moment in my lore, and you have none of the surrounding context of it. So how could you know what's happening, you know? So it's meant to be confusing. It's meant to make you feel the right thing. Like hopefully, and it sounds like it did that for you. You felt what the story is, which is that I have this past and I'm choosing to cut pieces of it out and start new, but I also can't fully escape that past. Like you felt that, you got that from it, and that's totally on point. But literally, what is the story of the lore? Kind of my hope is that you can start to piece together a little bit of it, but I also kind of hope that you're like 50% wrong. If that makes sense.
So this is, I don't mean anything by this, but it sounds like this is a little bit of a game you're playing, a little bit of a let's find out what happens.
It is.
I like
it. Totally is.
I like that. And you're not going to tell us your lore, so can you tell us what other people have interpreted with your story? Because you have mine now, but what about other people? What have they come up to you and said?
You know, a lot of people are getting a lot of people are aware of some of it. I've heard some interesting theories. I know some people are trying to figure out if the black and white and the color, if they're the same person or not, which is an interesting one for me to hear. I know some people are trying to figure out, you know, who are these guys that it looks really confusing in the video. One second I'm working with this group of people and I'm like helping them do something, but then it also looks like I'm in handcuffs and they're dragging me around and they're kind of beating on me. And then they bring a drill to my head and you're like, who's the guy in the mask and what's his deal? And then they put the storyteller mask on me and you're like, okay, that's cool, but why? Like there's a lot of like things that, you know, I feel like right now at this point, there's a lot of people are asking the right questions and they have none of the means to get to the answer. So it's all speculation. And that's right where I want you. It is totally a game. It's kind of, it's this two-part thing where I want people to be able to make up their own story, and then as I give more details, they're forced to change it, and they're forced to reconcile with new details. So,
well, I have my own new details.
Someday it'll all get revealed. Someday, but you know, not anytime soon.
I have to waggle my finger at you, so I'm currently giving you the pointing at you. But I think I have new ideas for the music video, and the other people in it, they're not actually other people. They can be, but they're your thoughts. It's like an Inside Out kind of thing. Like that one Disney movie where like, I can't, Riley has like these emotions inside her head. I think that's what that is. The other people are not other people. They're your thoughts and your feelings and like the other parts of you. And like the reason that they have the drill to your head and are giving you the suspicious liquid and holding you in handcuffs. Holy crap. Did I just figure it out? Is this all in your head?
You're in an interesting train of thought here. You're on a very interesting train of thought here. Yeah, I'll give you that. One of the other things that I used to talk about a lot more, I don't know why I haven't talked about it, I don't think at all as a storyteller, is I write in what I call stacked allegory.
Ooh.
And I don't know, I cannot remember, honestly, if I made up that word or if I found that word. I don't know. But what that means is when I write an album, I always create a document that I look at, and it reminds me of the themes that I'm trying to trace. Usually there's 5 to 10, and it reminds me of the storylines I'm trying to tell. Usually there's maybe 2, no more than 2. And what I do is, like, for example, let's take my Uncaged album that I released as Daniel Sherman. That one it's so tangible, and that record is I'm trying to talk about politics. I'm trying to talk about religion. I'm trying to talk about in that record what I call human depravity, like the fact that we all have evil in us and we don't know how to reconcile it. I'm trying to talk about mixed feelings about what happens when someone dies. My grandfather had just passed away, and so it was a record about grief. And I'm trying to reconcile the COVID pandemic, and I'm trying to reconcile also the fictional storyline. So that's 6 trains of thought, and every single word on the album means something to each individual theme, and it means something different to each theme, is the way that I write. You could listen to that album and listen strictly for politics, and you'll start to see what I'm saying. You can listen to the album strictly for religion. You'll see what I'm trying to say. You can listen to it strictly from the perspective of grief and death. You'll see what I'm trying to say. You can listen to the album strictly from the perspective of the COVID pandemic. You'll see what I'm trying to say. You can listen to the album strictly from the perspective on human depravity. You'll see what I'm trying to say. And then you can listen to the album again from the perspective completely on the lore and the plot, and you'll see what I'm trying to say. So in the same way, and this is where it gets really complicated with these videos, is I have a set of themes. I'm not going to reveal them for this album, although the title being Fear gives you a pretty obvious main one to go off of. I have all these themes, and every single word, if you listen with that theme in mind, you'll interpret the song drastically differently. So, and that applies to my videos too. If you take a certain theme and you watch that video to say, how is it developing this theme that I think he's talking about, you're going to view that video drastically differently. So in the past, I've always said, this is an album about this, about this, about this. Like I've kind of laid it out and said, now listen and look for it. I don't think I'm going to do that anymore. I think it's more interesting for you to listen to the record and be like, oh, that makes me feel like he's talking about this. And then try and listen to the album start to finish and be like, oh yeah, I think he totally was talking about this. But what I'll do when I write a song, and then always at the end of the album, is I'll actually read all my own lyrics and listen to my own album over and over with a different theme in mind to make sure I've executed that stacked allegory well. It's probably the part that takes the most time for me. And ironically, it's the part that the least people will care about. It's ridiculously time consuming. But that depth to it, that depth to the project, to me is it's the mark of something I've written. It's kind of my way of no, I don't think anyone else is doing this, not quite the way I'm doing it. And so it's extremely important to me, but it's probably not very important to literally anyone else.
I like that.
So that being said, with your interpretation of the video, you might be nailing one thematic interpretation of the video, and it's just a piece of the puzzle. Or maybe you're not. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you.
Narrows eyes in contemplation. Let's see. So I have 2 questions. One is, what is that suspicious liquid in the glass? And are you forced to drink that? What is that?
So I will answer this question. This is like how people. So people have been with me for a long time. Know the infamous no comment answer.
Oh boy.
And they hate it. So here's my deal that I make with everyone who wants to ask me questions about the lore, which is you can ask any question you want. And if it's specific enough, oftentimes you'll get an answer. And if it's not, you're going to get the no comment because it's going to lead me to revealing more than I want to. So in this case, you'll get an answer. I will tell you what the juice is. But it's just funny that whenever I think about no comment, it's just, I know it haunts people who ask me these questions. They're like afraid I'm going to say it. You're not going to get one yet. I don't know what your second question is, or if you have another one after this, but what is the brain juice, or what is the juice? It is brain juice. So basically there's this, the cup is put in front of me and it says drink to forget. And so what they're doing is you can see that he pours it out of this jar with a brain in it. They scientifically engineered this juice that, for reasons I won't share, needs to soak in another person's brain. And they're making me drink it because it's going to assist in the process of wiping my memories. And making me into somebody different. So you're seeing the transition from me being one person to me being somebody else. And I'll spoil a little bit that one of the places I'm going thematically with this next album is kind of this question on the philosophy of identity. I took a lot of philosophy classes in college,
Ooh.
and there's a lot of these questions about memory. And some people say that your memories are your identity. So you're going to see me take that idea and put it to the test on this next album. I have a character. He's had his memories wiped. Is he the same person he was before, or is he somebody different? I don't know. We'll find out together. I mean, I do know. I've answered the question in my album, but you don't. So we're gonna take it and we're gonna find out. Do we feel like this character at his core is the same person he was before his memories are wiped? And we'll find out.
I like that, and I'm excited for that, but I am going to go ahead and kind of just use this as my way of saying, I feel like, yes, I feel like even if your memories are wiped, you are still the same person. Through my own experience in philosophy and stuff, like, memory is so strange. Apparently water holds memory, and I guess humans are 75% water, and if all of that is true, memory might be a form of energy, and energy doesn't really go away.
Yeah, this is where I have to not respond to you because we're getting into we're getting into some stuff that I don't want to share my thoughts.
Reveal?
But I love your thoughts.
All right,
they're
cool.
Good thoughts.
Cool. Well, then we look forward to this release of things, and I'm gonna lead into the next question here in a second, but first, I now understand why the brain juice looks suspiciously like brain juice when you... Yeah, I now get that, so that's cool.
It's because it's brain juice.
I was like, wait a minute, this suspiciously looks like brains. Is this brains? Now I have my answer.
Yep, it's brains, unfortunately. And I did actually have to put some gross things in my mouth, by the way, for that video, so...
I'm sorry.
I do my own stunts. I do all my own stunts.
I mean, we're creatives. We kind of have to go where no one else has gone before.
It's true.
My next question is, I've seen it on your socials. I've seen it in your, I air quote promotion stuff, because I hate calling things like content and stuff promotion, but for lack of better terms, it is. What does the "Are you afraid" and the "you should be" kind of mean? Like, what is that about? I know that's in pertaining to the album coming out, right?
Yes.
No
I'm
comment?
I think I can comment a little.
Okay.
One of the things that I'm navigating with this record is my view of fear and reconciling my view of fear. Fear is this emotion that we all associate with being a negative emotion. Like, what's the thing? You go to someone and you say, "I'm scared." What are they going to tell you? "Oh, you don't need to be scared. You shouldn't be afraid," right? We're told, like, don't be afraid. How do we fix being afraid? And one of the things that I'm wrestling with on this album, and I'm trying to decide if I just want to tell you the conclusion I come to or not, but I think I'm going to choose not to. But one of the things I'm wrestling with is there a type of fear or a version of fear that's positive? Is fear this actual negative emotion like we talk about it like it is? Is fear the villain in the story or not? Or is fear this thing that can be twisted to be a villain and it's not actually a villain? Or is fear, like, what I'm kind of getting down to in this album, like, do we need fear? Do we want fear? And what does healthy fear look like if it exists? And so I'm kind of, the reason that keeps popping up in promo and in things like that is because I'm hoping that people are starting to realize that's the main question we're dealing with on this record is what is a healthy fear? And is there a healthy fear? And how do I achieve a healthy fear? And I've come to a conclusion about it. It's what made me write the record. And I'm kind of, my album's kind of a persuasive essay in a way. It's telling you where I've landed, and it's hoping to convince you to land in the same place. So, which obviously, I mean, if I'm saying, are you afraid you should be? It means that I think you should be. I'm telling you that because you should be. But what should we be afraid of? Why should we be afraid of it? How do we take that fear and experience it in a way that's healthy? That's something that I'm kind of wrestling with on this record.
I feel like talking about this might resonate with you, so I'm, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. In my own personal journey with like answering the fear question for myself, I think for me that I have kind of found that I'm no longer afraid of the same things I used to be, the things that were holding me back. What I'm afraid of is different now, and I think it's kind of entering a more positive realm. It's kind of like, I'm not afraid of being too much. I'm not afraid of failure anymore. What I'm afraid of is not doing anything that makes me fail or makes me learn. Like, if I'm just not doing anything, I'm not alive. And that scares me. So now I have to do things. I have to go socialize, even though I'm terrified to. I have to be my full awkward self in all of my awkward glory. So
yeah, I think that what you're talking about touches a lot on what the song "Afraid of the Day" talks about. The reason I'm willing to say that is because I've already released a song that talks about it, which is that our fears change when we grow up. Like when you're a kid, like for me, I wrote that song because as a kid I was terrified of the dark, and like I found myself with the way fear had twisted and gotten its claws in me as an adult. I was like, I wish I was still just scared of the dark. I wish that was the thing, because I felt more human and more alive when I was just scared of the dark. But now I have these other fears that are actually taking my humanity from me. And so how do I take fear and put it back where it belongs? It's kind of the question that song is asking. It sounds like you've started to go through the process of taking that fear and put it back where it belongs, which is awesome.
I believe you're capable of that too, and I look forward to your journey on that, and with this song, and with not with just this song, but with the album and everything. Like, that's so cool. That's so cool that you're exploring this stuff.
I'm excited for it to be out, so I can talk a little more openly about things. But for now, I don't want to take away from the journey that the album takes you on, for sure. So it'll be exciting.
Remind me again, what is the name of the album, and when is it potentially being released if it doesn't have a release date?
So the album is called Fear, and it will be dropping in the fall. I do know when it comes out. I'm just not allowed to say it yet. So for a few reasons. I know that sounds weird when I've just told you I have no label telling me what to do, but there's other people on my team who say I'm not allowed to say it yet, so I can't say it yet. But in the fall, soon. It's coming very soon.
I'm sure we're all looking forward to it.
I am too.
Let's see. If I'm not mistaken, doesn't I Relate come out soon? Soon?
A week from today. Yeah.
All right, cool.
1 week from right now. So very excited for that song. I don't know, when do you upload these? Will it be out already, or is it?
I plan on uploading this as soon as we're done with recording.
Oh, sweet. Well, in that case, go pre-save my song Relate. You can find me anywhere at So Tell the Story. That's my username on literally any social media. Send me a DM, comment on something, let me know you're interested in the pre-save link, and I will send it to you. This is my first release without a label. Very nervous, really want it to go well. And so any and all help, very appreciated.
Also, be sure to, when the song does come out, guys, save it in your playlists, because on Spotify and YouTube, playlists are how you tell your artists and your people that you appreciate their music.
That's true, and it's how the algorithm knows who to show it to. The songs you put it in a playlist with and the songs you listen to next to it are how Spotify will build its algorithm for that song specifically and then pitch it to new people. So be very intentional about placing the song in a playlist with other artists that you think their fans might like this song too, which if you like both artists, it's a good indicator that there's other people who like both artists out there probably. So
And you can find your
Yeah,
people that
playlists
way.
are king. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Just to note for the audience and also ourselves, I am going to be putting the pre-save link along with the other links for other stuff and your projects and whatever else you want me to add in the description for people to be able to access. So after this, feel free to send me anything and everything, including like a quote or description that I can just put in the description. Like I want your voice to be like the main voice for this episode.
Yeah. Well, that's so cool. I appreciate that. One more thing that I'll pitch real quick then is I'm actually going to be announcing literally today, like right now, as I get off of this podcast, is that I am launching. My new website is launched, actually. I've just put up a new website. It's still sotellthestory.com. I've got the same domain name, but this website is going to have everything you need all in the same place. It's got all my links on it. It's got news. It tells you what the newest release is. It's got a blog on it where you can hear about what I'm working on. And then it's got my merch for sale. If any shows start happening, it's where you're going to be able to get tickets. But there is this new thing I'm adding, which is called The Next Chapter. Mm-hmm. And what The Next Chapter is for $5 a month, you get access to new content that's exclusive to you weekly. Every single month, you pay $5 or more if you want to throw a little extra money my way. That I'm going to, at the end of the month, report where that money has gone every single time. So you're going to get to see it. But for $5 or more a month, the first week of every month, you're going to get what's called Song of the Month. It's a recording of me and my piano singing a unreleased song that maybe it'll never release. Maybe you're one of the only people who's ever going to hear it. Or maybe one day you'll hear it come back up again and it's on an album all of a sudden. Who knows? But you're going to get a Song of the Month. You're going to get my own podcast that I'm launching called Pretentious Opinions with the Storyteller. You get access to that.
Nice.
That'll be the second week of every month. The third week of every month, you get a short story that takes place within the universe of my lore. And you only get access to that as an exclusive subscriber. And then the fourth of every month, you get a vlog. That vlog is going to show you clips of me in the studio working on stuff, which means you're going to get sneak peeks. And then at the end of the vlog, you're going to get a breakdown of everything I've worked on musically that month, where I'm headed next month, and then also a breakdown of where the money from subscribers has gone and how it's helped push my music forward. So if that's something you're interested in, if you want to, even if you don't care about the content, you just want to commit to supporting with a few bucks every month, you can support for just $5 a month. And send that money my way, and I appreciate it. Or if you want access to the content, I tried to make it as low cost as possible. This is just without the label now backing me. There's certain things that I just need a little help to do, and this is going to help me do it. So really excited to launch that. I think I've made it worth your while. One more thing I forgot to say, that $5 a month, every month you also get a discount code on merch. So your $5 can go right towards the merch instead.
That's a good
if
deal.
You want to use that towards merch, you could do it. So as cheap as I could make it, as much content as I could give you, I'm really excited about it. The song of the month literally drops tomorrow. So you will get your first demo song tomorrow if you sign up. Super stoked about it. Can't wait.
That is really cool. And I thank you for that information. I kind of feel a little special, not going to lie. That is awesome. Wow. I might actually be learning a little bit from you on how to like do I'm going to call it a brand, but really my brand, the Digital Quill, like media podcast Quill, like all of this is just me as a human being, like bearing the name. Anyway, like I might take some notes from you. What you're doing, I feel like you have a better handle on things than I do.
Well, I don't know if it'll work yet or not, so I'll get back to me once I've launched it, and we'll see how it goes. But I'm launching it today, so I'm excited to see what happens. I hope people are interested, because I'm excited about it. I'm really excited to share some new stuff with everyone.
I'm excited for this too, and I know this is super personal, but when am I not being super personal about my stuff on anything? I don't have exactly like the biggest budget in the world. Like everything I do is just me and my own money and my own time and my own energy. So I am trying to be like really selective about the subscriptions and stuff that I subscribe to, because I'm penny pinching, starving artist budget. Yay.
Oh, but, yeah. I understand. Trust me. I
have been telling myself, unless it benefits, like let me rephrase that. Unless it like helps me as a human being be a better human being, like I don't want to like subscribe to it monetarily because I can't justify like a large entertainment budget, if that makes sense.
Sure.
But I will definitely be subscribing to this because it's like almost, man, like I something in it resonates with me so much, and I don't know how to explain it or put it into words, but you've already got one guarantee person who wants to be a part of that. So awesome.
Well, I appreciate it. You're the only one who knows right now, so you could go sign up right now while I get ready to launch it. Just showtellthestory.com. It's ready for you. It's there. But I appreciate that. I appreciate the support. It means a lot.
I appreciate what you're doing. So it's mutual for same and different reasons. If you could tell the entire world one thing right now, what would you tell them? If you could beam it into everybody's minds, all 8 billion people, what would you say?
Taco Bell chicken nuggets are the best chicken nugget.
You've had Taco Bell chicken nuggets?
And they're so good.
Oh, man, I need to try them.
No one knows that they're good because you're like, ew, Taco Bell? I barely trust them to make a burrito. Why would I want them touching chicken? But I'm telling you right now, you get the Taco Bell chicken nuggets with the nacho fries with the Bell sauce, and it's going to change you. I'm a big Taco Bell nugget advocate. But in all seriousness, I do have a different message as well, but that one is very near and dear to my heart. Okay, I am not even kidding. Go get the Taco Bell chicken nuggets. But if I could beam a message in everyone's head at the same time, every single human being on earth, it would be a really simple, clear, and concise message of tell the story. Tell the story. Whatever your story is. Just that act of taking your experience, your humanity, your life, whatever it is you've done, whatever it is you've been through, and telling that story, that's the initial act of creativity that every creative does. The way they do it's different sometimes, but just that act of, I have a story. First of all, you need to acknowledge that. Not everyone knows that. I have a story. I need to tell it. Tell it to yourself first. You might not even know your story, but tell your story. You need to tell it. It is the most human thing we can do, is tell our story. So tell it. Everyone has a story worth telling. Every single one. There's just not enough movie picture deals for everyone to make a movie about it or write a book about it or make an album about it, whatever it is. But tell your story however you need to. Tell it. That's my true answer.
I like that.
And on a side note, you need to live tomorrow to keep telling the story. So make it to the next day so you can keep writing and keep telling your story. Don't end your story before it's over. Keep telling it.
I like that too. I agree on that. Tell your story. If all 8 billion people are listening to this episode, which, let's be real, only like probably 5 to 50 people are listening to this episode, tell your story, because every single one of us, because we are in existence, we are here right now, we all have our own path, our own story, our own whims, and we are all, every single one of us, essential. We all matter because we're made of matter.
I like that. That's good wordplay.
Thank you. All right. I feel like I've asked all the burning and possible questions I feel like I can ask. Is there anything you want to talk about now?
I think we've covered pretty much everything I'm allowed to talk about.
That's fair. That's fair. Let's see then. This is episode 25. Just to recap it for the audience, if you guys are out there actually listening to our voices from the great beyond, this is episode 25 of the Digital Quill podcast with the Storyteller. Can I also use your other name?
Of course, yeah.
Okay. All right. Episode 25 with the Digital Quill podcast with the Storyteller, also known as Daniel Sherman. We're going to probably start wrapping it up here in the next 5-10 minutes, so... I'm bad at ending things. I've always been bad at ending things. The Irish goodbye is my favorite goodbye. if you don't have any final notes, I do have one final question. Is there a chance we can have another episode in the future? Because in the future, I'd like to do a video episode so people can see what the Storyteller looks like.
Sure.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm down.
Cool. Then we will look forward to that. All right.
I will as well.
A week from today, your next next song releases. Hopefully we can get some traction with the user or listener videos. I completely have no idea where my train of thought was trying to, or how my train of thought was trying to word that, but I hope we can get people to do the I relate thing, because I think that would be really cool for people to see themselves in other people as well.
Yeah, I've got a few submissions, which is cool. It's honestly, I need to figure out the rest of it. So, but it's not too late to send one in. If you want to be a part of it, send one in.
How can people send them into you?
Just send me a DM or an email. You can email me at sotellthestory@gmail.com. But wherever, however you can get a video file to me, it works for me. Link it, send me a link to Google Drive, send me if the file's small enough over email or over a DM. Whatever works best for you. As long as I see the video, we're good.
All right, cool. Yes, I think that's a good point to end on, because that is like the next current thing that we can do to connect and create together. So with that being said, thank you so much for joining me today. We actually made it to 2 hours and 21 minutes.
That's crazy.
So I'm stoked about that. Again, seriously, thank you so much for agreeing to this. I was super nervous at first. I'm always going to be super nervous at first, because this is not comfortable territory for me, but I like doing it because people. So thank you for this.
Glad I was able to be a part of it.
All right. I hope you guys out there are having a great day. We're going to end right here. As always, humans of Earth, please keep going. Don't stop. This was Mars and the Storyteller. Have a great day. Bye.